This is the GTM AI podcast. Episode number 30, hosted by my man Jonathan Moss, who interviews Josh Carter, the head of demand gen at Pavilion, around strategies they used with AI to help them hit 115% of ARR quota in July this year. This is sponsored by the GTM AI Academy, your go-to source for learning how to use AI in companies, teams, and in your individual workflow. Business impact over learning tools.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the GTM AI pod. Welcome to another episode. I have the one and only Josh Carter, head of demand gen from Pavilion. So one of the most amazing go-to-market communities that I've been a part of for over 3 years. Had so much value on it. I can say that I have landed roles, I have learned so much, et cetera. And I was like, where's Pavilion been all my life? So Josh, thanks for joining, and super excited to have this conversation with you today.
Yeah, thanks for the warm welcome, Jonathan, and love how you've been leaning into the community. So for those of you guys listening, Jonathan's like very involved in our AI and GTM Slack channel specifically, where he's just dropping knowledge bombs, sharing like insights, what he's working on, and like really facilitating awesome discussions. So if you are a Pavilion member, hop into that channel because it's freaking awesome and you're doing a great job.
Love it. Thanks, man. And you're doing a great job as well, which we're going to unpack here. And I appreciate everything you're doing, because you actually, some of the stuff that you put together actually taught me a few things and gave me some ideas. And so excited to talk a little bit about that. But let's dive into it. So I would love to, just for the audience, share a little bit about you. So who are you? Why should they listen, et cetera? So would love to learn a little bit more about you before we dive in.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Josh Carter. I head up demand gen at Pavilion, and yeah, I'm a total nerd. Like I am a marketing ops nerd through and through. Just kind of what happens when you work at startups and being the only marketer. You have to figure out marketing ops, you have to figure out brand, you have to figure out demand gen. So I'm really passionate specifically on the operations side of things. And with AI and all the enhancements and all these improvements that are happening so quickly, there are so many tie-ins with how AI can really shape marketing strategies and shape how you actually execute a lot of these workflows, whether they be nurture sequences or lead scoring. Like there's so many different use cases for it. So I'm starting to see this like blend of like the marketing ops world blending in with all these other parts of marketing, because now AI is serving this like important function within marketing ops to enable other groups. So anyways, my goal is just to empower other marketers to leverage AI and get a little technical, roll up their sleeve and learn how to use a lot of different tools, whether it be something as simple as ChatGPT to maybe a workflow tool like Copy AI. I'm trying to just share as much knowledge as I can about how I've been fighting through challenges with those tools and how I've generated results on the other side. So yeah, keep listening if you want to hear the approach that I'm taking to drive revenue for Pavilion using AI in those workflows.
I love that. It's super important because a few things. So one is, you are also dropping knowledge bombs, my friend. So we appreciate that, especially building in public and sharing that. And I think the second thing is something that's really important. You mentioned the ability to drive revenue, right? And what I see a lot, and we're seeing more and more, is folks are not being able to quantify the ROI of AI, or they're doing POCs and they're looking at it the wrong way. And so I'm very excited to just jump in so we can give some really great content for those listening. So first, let's talk about those results. So you just came off of one of the best quarter or months, I believe, in July that Pavilion's ever had. And so tell us a little bit about what results you got and what were some of the things that you all did to drive those results.
Yeah. So I'm responsible for new member acquisition. So when we talk about driving revenue, that's essentially driving new members into Pavilion. And we hit our target. We exceeded targets. It was like 115% to goal on the ARR side. It's awesome. And those targets kept going up month over month as we kept getting better, it's always a challenge being on the marketing or sales side and your targets go up and it's just like, all right, let's hit them. But we absolutely crushed it. And a lot of that had to do with the investments that we made in down funnel conversion specifically. We do a lot of work in brand to drive interest to Pavilion. And then a lot of folks are aware of Pavilion, but there's a lot of people that are just aware of Pavilion, but they haven't really taken that next step to start their process to becoming a member. The focus has been taking the people that have been like watchers or lurkers of Pavilion and bringing them down funnel. So really that down funnel conversion has been working on that, and optimizing that has been really effective. And we've been using a lot of a lot of AI a lot of AI tools to help with, or AI workflows, shall I say, to help enable our team to better convert people down funnel. So just to spitball and give a couple examples, like we have a chapter head in at least one chapter head in every major city and around the world, and we have a Pavilion chapter in the city where they plan events, they orchestrate these things. They're really like the last line of defense for members to, I want to say last line of defense, but they are the person that the member goes to engage with Pavilion oftentimes, just because it's their local chapter head. And what we've been working on is like, how do we enable those chapter heads to convert people that are interested in joining Pavilion? They've raised their hand in some capacity. How do we get them to take that next step and join Pavilion? And how do we leverage local chapter heads to do that? And one of the challenges that we had, frankly, was, what is the chapter head going to send those interested leads? And is it going to be personalized? Because certainly these chapter heads, Pavilion's not a full-time job for them. So we need to make it as easy as possible for them to reach out to people, because they're not a full-time sales rep or community member of Pavilion. They're doing this on the side, and just building simple messaging workflows that basically take all the information about the lead that raised their hand and giving the chapter head all the context to that lead based on a LinkedIn scrape, using AI to generate an email that they can just click a link and have it send in a couple clicks. That's really like the time to value, or time to execute, is really where I'm focusing in terms of using AI. So like the way I look at AI is, what is something that maybe a sales rep is doing today, or a chapter head is doing today? How do I make that process a lot quicker, whether it be automating the research component, which is done through like a LinkedIn scrape, and then going all the way to like message creation that takes the benefits of Pavilion and combines that with who that person is and generates a really nice tailored personalized email to them. So that's really like where we've been focusing, is like, how do we enable those chapter heads? How do I enable my sales team who's responsible for new member acquisition with AI? Because frankly, let's face it, Pavilion membership for an executive, if you live in the US, it's $2,700 a year. So as you can imagine, like lower compared to other like B2B type sales motions, like it's a lower average selling price. So naturally, I don't want our reps to be spending 2 hours on one member, for example. They need to be spending 15 to 30 minutes on one member to really make it valuable for us as a business, and sustainable for us as a business. So the more I can use AI to leverage the research of that lead all the way to like the messaging, the better the output, from the rep, but also consistency and the frequency is just going to go up and allow our reps to do more with less. So we found that in July, our reps were significantly more effective because we started doing things like sending them call prep notes based on AI. So before they had a call with a potential member, it scraped their LinkedIn and gave them a list of things to talk about. And we use copy AI for that. We generate email follow-ups based upon the conversation that they have, based on the call transcript. So there's so many different things that you can do. And so our approach to AI, Jonathan, is really like, how can we just increase efficiency on a per rep or per person basis, and then delight the end user with a nice personalized experience, or delight the lead.
I love that, because ultimately you see a lot of people potentially taking the wrong approach, which is, I want to automate everything and just have an AI SDR, right?
Yeah.
Where I don't even have anyone, and or I just want to push a button and everything just happens. But really what I heard you say and what I really love is, I'm taking some of the friction and inefficiencies out of the process and automating these things so I can help a SDR, whether that's a Pavilion SDR or a chapter head, because you have multiple channels that you're driving go to market through. And as you mentioned, your chapter heads, they don't work full time for you all, right? They have their own jobs or their own things. And so this is something that they're doing because they believe in the community, and because they want to build that sense in their local chapters. And what you're enabling them to do is be more effective and efficient with personalization, with the workflows, with the follow-ups, and all those things that actually have helped you, from your July results and then what you mentioned, have helped you actually increase memberships and things. And so I think this is a really good point, and I would love for you to showcase a little bit maybe more about how you specifically how you're doing that, because you're using copy AI, you're using some automations, and you're using open AI, I believe, as well, you mentioned. But yeah, would love to dive in more, because I think there's a lot of people, and what I love about what you're doing, and really what some of us are doing, there's a lot of people talking about these
Yeah.
things, but there's even less people actually doing them
Mhm.
and experimenting with them and actually being able to showcase the results. And that's what and that's why I was super excited that you are sharing your time with us today to walk through some of those things, because I think it's really amazing. And I've even used your template, by the way, that you created and that you sent out, because I thought it was so amazing. So I appreciate that. But I just wanted to hit that point for everyone who's listening, because ultimately they're a lot of times what I see is people are just going about it the wrong way.
Yep.
They're either thinking AI can do everything for them and there's a silver bullet, or they're not focusing on the things that can drive value. And what you said, I'll mention one more thing you said, which was time to value.
Yep.
So what are those low hanging fruits, or maybe even high value, low effort, if you will, across your workflows or across your go to market that you can leverage AI to help? And so, Josh, you're doing that, and I love that. So, yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm happy to roll up or open up the curtain and show everybody like what I've been working on. And I'll
Yeah,
share my screen for those of you watching on YouTube. But if you're listening, I'll walk through the workflows. But you made such a good point. It's not a silver bullet. And there's so many tools out there that make these promises that this is going to be your solution for sales. This is going to be your solution for an automated AI SDR, or it's, in my opinion, it's false promises, really. It doesn't understand the context of your business. It takes a while to train. And then there's a risk of not having a human in the loop, which like I am a huge fan of human in the loop. Like I want to make sure that our reps are and our chapter heads, when they have an email that's personalized and ready to send to a lead who raised their hand, like they have a chance to tweak it, edit it, maybe add some additional personal context the AI didn't bring in. And maybe break up sentences if the AI made it a little too verbose, or a lot of clauses within a sentence, like AI oftentimes likes to do. And I've been using Claude 3.5 for a lot of our messaging,
love it.
because I find that tone of messaging is a lot better and easier to tweak than GPT 4.0. But either way, it's not a silver bullet. And the way I approach it is like in chunks of, hey, what is something that's just it's basically like I ask a rep, if you had a magic wand, how would you like this? How would you like this process to run? I'd love to just see in my Slack all my calls I have coming up and just know who that person is, what their LinkedIn profile is, and what they care about. From there, I'm like, oh, I can just build this for you in about 10 minutes. And so it's all about the enablement's a key piece to increase that time to value, or decrease that time to value for your reps to be able to deliver a message, for your leads to get the right message at the right time. But really, it's all about like understanding like where are some friction and pain points in your organization that there is opportunity to automate and delight your lead as a result of the process. So I'm going to share a
Love it.
couple examples here. So
Let's do it.
cool. So I'm going to first share the example that I shared about email summaries. So basically, the gist of it is, let's just say Jonathan Moss goes to Pavilion's website and you are starting to sign up to join Pavilion and you drop off. This is the email that gets sent to your local chapter head, who is Elizabeth in the Dallas Fort Worth area. Using AI, copy AI, we basically pass all the information about you, Jonathan, into copy AI. We pass your LinkedIn profile. It scrapes your LinkedIn profile. It looks at your experience. It takes data from HubSpot, where we share like how you heard about Pavilion. So in this case, you were referred to Pavilion by a couple people. It shares any of the last marketing emails or website pages you visited, because we store that data in HubSpot. So we're basically passing all this data from HubSpot into Copy AI. And then we are bringing it all together to say why this person would benefit from Pavilion. So in this case, as an experienced GTM leader, Jonathan would greatly benefit from Pavilion's resources, events, and community around AI for go-to-market teams. So very personalized way of showing how Pavilion would help Jonathan. And then again, this is an email, or this is a notification that gets sent to our chapter heads. We can also have this teed up as a task in HubSpot for our reps. There's so many different kind of use cases for this information. And then I built a little mail to link that auto populates an email right here that says, "Hey, Jonathan, I'm Elizabeth, the head of the Dallas Pavilion chapter. As an experienced GTM leader, I think you'd be a great fit. I'd love to chat more about, we can help you grow your career, et cetera. Can we find 15 minutes to connect this week?" So it referenced Jonathan's experience as a GTM leader driving revenue orchestration. I think he'd be a great fit for the community. All that to say, this is just an example of ways that you can take something as simple as like enrichment using AI and generate a message that is tailored to that person. And I add that human in the loop component. So if I'm Elizabeth trying to reach out to you, Jonathan, I can just say, "I love how you approach AI, been following your podcast for a while." So like they can always jump in and add some embellishments here. Again, that human in the loop component is really important for us.
I love that. So the question, because one, you've got the pre-work already defined. You got a note about me. You've got a quick link here. If you notice the two links, one is connect, so I can connect to you directly on LinkedIn, so you're making it easy. The
Yep.
other is send a personalized email in 2 clicks. It's draft, so I can edit it. Phenomenal. Now, question is, if I'm new to this and I look at this and be like, man, this just seems super difficult to build and super time consuming. So how long did it take you to build and what did it take to do this for those that aren't familiar and aren't as experienced as you?
Yeah. So it took me probably, gosh, I would say like a total of 2 hours to really hone the like prompt engineering work down and get the data passed over to our AI workflow tool, Copy AI. So what's cool about this tool, Copy AI, that we use, and I'll just share what the actual workflow is right now and talk through it. Basically, what this workflow is doing is it's from HubSpot using like a simple webhook. It's passing all the data into this. Think of it like a step-by-step AI chain. So every step is an AI action that can reference the previous action to build whatever the output is. In this case, it's an email and a list of potential benefits that Jonathan would benefit from joining Pavilion. So it takes in all the information from a webhook about who Jonathan is, who their chapter head is, etc. It scrapes Jonathan's profile. It extracts the company information that is related, that wherever Jonathan works, it's going to pull that person's company information. It's going to scrape the company profile to understand what that company does. And then it's going to generate, I call them call prep notes. It's basically, hey, uh, give me like a quick synopsis of who Jonathan is and why he should join Pavilion based upon the knowledge that we already have on Pavilion. And then it's going to generate the email. And then from there, you can pass this data, the email, you can pass the call prep notes, you can even pass all this data through the API that Copy AI has into, and in our case, we pass it into an email tool that will send the email out, or it could pass back into HubSpot. There's so many different kind of use cases for the data. But the important part is this whole step is just a series of AI prompts. And at least with this tool, Copy AI, you can actually tell it to what you want your workflow to be. So I literally just described it, hey, given a person's LinkedIn profile, scrape it and generate an email basically and of course you have to fine tune it. But the important piece is that if you leverage a tool like Copy AI, or even you could use Zapier and have each step be like a open AI, I guess AI type action or event inside of Zapier. So you could just you can connect a Zap to OpenAI and have the step be a prompt for ChatGPT, and then it would return the result, and you can pass that result anywhere in Zapier. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. I really like how Copy AI does it, but really it's about getting that like end result and then fine tuning the prompt engineering, which takes a lot longer than you may expect. So the bulk of the time that I spent was actually generating this prompt to help frame this email to keep it short, warm, and not super AI feeling, because still there's challenges with language with AI. Yeah, Jonathan, like it's all about that workflow build, and the prompt engineering work is really where the time needs to be spent. Because I think a lot of people will give up if they just take what AI gives it and the email is really AI sounding, and they're just going to give up and on anything related to AI copywriting, because people are going to get frustrated at how AI it sounds. And we've all read AI SDR emails and they're not so good.
I hope all is well. In fact, I got one not too long ago that told me that I worked at Pavilion for 3 years. Nope, been a member, didn't work there. So yes, 100%. So I think what's interesting, and I really love this, is it's really Copy AI or Zapier. They make this so easy to build the workflows. It's like a 5-step workflow that you put together. And then in each step, it's really just connecting the webhook, so i.e. with your CRM, or I think you even send a message in Slack, right? I think
Yep.
you mentioned that earlier. Just and it makes it very easy to do that. And so 2 hours to do what you just showed is like nothing. I would have thought, or I guess previous to some of these tools, it probably would have take a bunch of people days, weeks,
Oh my gosh.
et cetera. So it's very easy to do, and and there's so many resources out there to learn, even if you've never put one of these together. And one thing that you said is super important, and this actually happened to me at first. When I first started using I didn't know how to prompt well either. And I
Yeah.
think what I've seen people do is what you just said, which is they give up because they don't like the results. But really, the result is more so about the input and the prompt that you give. And so even you have to fine tune it. You have to look at it and see. And I think that's one of the areas that those listening, as you get through this, or as you start building these workflows or just using AI in general, it's really about the prompt. And there's a lot of good frameworks out there, but you just got to test that over and over again. And this is awesome. So I know we have a couple minutes left. So I'd love to ask you one last question, which is, you've built some of these now. What's next? What are some of the things that you're exploring or thinking about to do next with AI or these workflows? Do you have those in mind?
Yeah. So just to summarize how I've been using it previously. So previously, as you saw, customizing messaging works really well. Giving people context to a lead and scraping that information, basically doing all the research work for the rep. Basically, how can we enable reps to be significantly more effective? That's where I started, whether they be a chapter head or one of our sales reps. The next frontier is how do I basically automate not automate, but how do I delight a lead with AI in a way that basically, actually, instead of me just sharing talking through like the freaking high level stuff, I'm just going to show you what I'm excited to be
Okay,
doing. So
let's do it.
effectively, we have about 50% of our members expense their membership, and we give them a template that they can use to expense their membership. I was taking some sales calls when one of my reps was out on PTO earlier this month, and 2 people had said, "Hey, I like your expense template. Can you just customize it for me? Because I need to pitch this to my boss to get my membership expensed." And I spent a while looking at this person's role, looking at the template, and trying to basically fill in the gaps in the template where we say, here are the courses that Pavilion offers that would benefit me. Course 1, course 2, course 3. And I'm like, okay, let me go into our course list and drop it in there. And it's taking our leads like a really long time, or people who are interested in joining Pavilion who are trying to pitch this. It's taking them a long time to actually taking them a long time to write this and then
I
make
see
it
that.
their own. It's so frustrating. So I'm like, how do I delight this person and give them a template that they can use that's personalized to them and allow them to access this template in 2 seconds, or basically a matter of a few seconds. So this is like total MVP and you're the first person to see it. But I created this flow where they put in their email, they put in their LinkedIn URL, and then they put in how Pavilion will help them perform better at their job, which is, it's just 3 fields that they put in. And then they click the button that says, get my expense template. And then within, I think that it typically runs around, it takes about a minute or 2 to run. That person will get an expense template delivered from the SDR directly in their inbox. Yeah, it's insane. And I'm using Copy AI to power this. But the whole point is like, I'm going from like doing the enablement side to now, how do I make it easier for a customer to buy and give them
Mhm.
everything that they need to self-service on their own? Because let's face it, people don't want to talk to sales reps. If somebody wants to go on Pavilion's website and sign up, but they just need to have a business case created for them, instead of them having to talk to a rep and ask them to like help them out, they can now just do it on their own. And our reps can be responsible for just giving them a guide, being a guide for them, or pointing them to this resource, or setting themselves up for success when they join. So I'm really firing up about this, Jonathan. And we can just, in the minute we have left, I can just literally just talk through what it generated for you because I generated it for you.
Yeah, let's do it. And this
So
is awesome because you just, again, talk about mind blown. So we went from enablement and selling internally to now thinking about the buyer and the customer and how I'm making it more frictionless. So I absolutely love this. So yeah, I'm curious to see what it came up with.
yeah. So so for Jonathan, for you, I told, and when I filled out the form, I said that you wanted to join Pavilion to learn the latest AI best practices and learn go-to-market frameworks that you can apply to your business. Sounds about right. Effectively, it created this email, and you should have had it land in your inbox.
It just came in from Marshawn right now.
There we go. I'm still working on the formatting there, but ultimately, what it produced is an email that says, "Hey, manager name, boss name, driving revenue and optimizing go-to-market strategies are top priorities. To stay ahead of the curve, I'd like to invest in a Pavilion executive membership. Pavilion is the leading community for go-to-market leaders. With Pavilion, I'll gain access to," and this is really important here. The email, this workflow is referencing a list of all our Pavilion courses. It's referencing a list of all of our Pavilion benefits, and it's looking at who you are and connecting that to the benefits of Pavilion to create this business case. And anybody can do. I don't care if you're selling enterprise SaaS, like you could use an AI workflow to generate these types of business cases or how it can help an individual person in their role. It's not just a B2C thing. It can apply to anybody. So yeah, it's personalized. It referenced an AI and revenue ops community, networking opportunities, continuous learning. So yeah, all that to say is we're on a path where we're just trying to like make it easier for the customer to buy and to light them along the way. Cause I don't really think anybody's doing this right now. And it feels like I'm building a product, but I'm really not. I built an AI workflow in an hour using Copy AI.
Which is amazing. You're right. It's so important today. I think what is it? There's a stat, and I'll post it later, make sure that I'm correct, but I believe it's around 60% of people research or get 60% of the way of buying before they talk to someone or want
Yeah.
to talk to someone. And then when they want to talk to someone, we make it super difficult. Think about I submit a form fill. I may get an SDR that reaches out at some point. They ask me a bunch of questions. Then it gets passed off to an AE who asks me the same questions over and over again. And so it's just this friction point of this whole buying process. And so what I love about this example is you're thinking about ways to take the friction out and how can I enable the buyer to be more successful at purchasing. And I love that. And man, you just got my mind thinking about all the ways that I need to think about this going forward, because this is super important and critical in today's world. So man, all the knowledge bombs, man, this has been phenomenal. So again, thanks for just coming on, sharing what you're building and doing. I love it. I love everything about it because it's tangible. It's not hard. It's a couple hours of work and you can get these type of results that you all got in July. So congrats again on the amazing July. Thanks again for the time and dropping knowledge bombs. Appreciate you coming on, Josh. Love this.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Jonathan.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the GTM AI podcast. Please follow, subscribe, like, comment, and come back for more.